Hi, everybody. Firstly, welcome back. And today I want to thank my regular viewers for your loyal support, for coming back time and time again, whether we agree on a subject or not. And that is what life is all about, isn't it? We are all as unique as our fingerprints, have grown up under different circumstances in different areas with different parents and DNA, and therefore we cannot possibly always agree on everything. And today will be another one of those occasions where some of you will go, wow, interesting, and you will perhaps go do more of your own research, listen to the video I'm referring to, or at the very least, you will reflect or ponder on what I said. Others will be angry and again accuse me of helping Harry and Meghan destroy the monarchy, which is utter rubbish, but you are also entitled to your opinion. Others will purely dismiss it as nonsense, conspiracy theory, and you too are welcome to your opinion. We are all indeed different. I have said this a number of times before. I have no psychic powers, real or imagined. I consider myself a Christian, but do not attend church as I do not subscribe to the dogmas of organized religion, which, in my opinion, have now turned too businesslike and too political. However, there are things I do have an extra, call it a sixth sense about, or the ability to sort and align information I get about people, politics, and psychology, or as I would call it, the psychology of people and politics, in such a way that I can rather accurately predict certain things. It does not have anything to do with feelings or visions. No, no, no. It has something to do with my brain computing certain information to calculate an outcome. One example was years ago when people in my town got very angry with me and told me I was absolutely crazy and delusional when I told them weeks ahead of a general election that the EFF, or the Red Brigade as I call them, would win a couple of seats in Parliament and even more in the next election. People got so angry at me that they vowed not ever to speak to me again, saying that I support evil, blah, 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 which, of course, is not true. And I absolutely detest any form of extremism which leads to violence. But my brain computed the feelings and reactions of the youth and realized that the leader of the EFF was appealing to the youth in particular. In any event, a few days ago, I received an email from a subscriber with a tip and someone else's email address. And unlike I usually do, I decided to go with this and I emailed the other person. To my surprise, I received more than I bargained for, and among other things, received a link to a video which I found to be a fundamentally religious video from Elijah Streams on Rumble. The type of thing I would seldom watch, but the creativity of the subject matter intrigued me enough to decide to give it a go. As per her instruction, I skipped the first 7 minutes or so, but 5 minutes into the rest of the video, I was absolutely hooked. I stopped the video and went and got a pen and paper to make some notes, etc., etc. After I watched the video, I did a bit of my own research, and now I will give you my own version of what I heard and what I understood and what I found via my own research. For those of you who wish to watch the original video, and I recommend that you do, I'll post a link on the screen and in the description box below. It all starts with the silly little nursery rhyme Humpty Dumpty. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall, Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. all the king's horses and all the king's men could not put Humpty together again. The rhyme was written in the 1800s, and there are two suppositions as to the story behind the rhyme. The first is that it refers to a battle that took place during the reign of King Charles I, a battle between those supporting the king, the royalists, and those who revolted against him and wanted him removed. The royalists were shooting at the rebels with a cannon fixed atop one of the walls of a castle. The rebels below realized they could not shoot and harm the soldiers on top, so they kept hitting the wall below the cannon until it crumbled and collapsed and the cannon fell and broke. The second story is about Richard III, who rode into battle in the 1800s atop his horse and who was killed in battle and who was completely lost until his body was found in 2012, at which time it was found that he was indeed a hunchback, a trait which is still today found in modern royalty. Those days, a deformity of the spine would just be called hunchback, with no to little understanding of the actual cause. As we know, Princess Eugenie had a few operations to correct her malformation of the spine, and which was called scoliosis. Anyway, regardless of which story is true and which is not, a fact is that certain symbolism remains in the actual nursery rhyme, namely that the horses are the vessels transporting the king and his men, and it is generally accepted that the rhyme refers to the defeat or fall of a reign or monarchy and or royalty. In 1865, Lewis Carroll had his manuscript Alice's Adventures in Wonderland published, and in 1871 he published its sequel, Alice Through the Looking Glass. For many years, there had been speculation about the symbolism in the story and about Carroll's links to the Illuminati, Freemasonry, etc., etc., and that the story could be a veiled representation of either or both. But we are not even going to go there, as it is pure speculation with no relevance as to where I am taking this. In Alice Through the Looking Glass, Alice interacts with Humpty Dumpty at some point, and one thing we get is that this Humpty Dumpty misuses words, gives existing words a new or different meaning, or he creates his own words. Today, Humpty Dumptyism is used as a term even in legal matters, where it literally means twisting words. But, my dear friends, that is not where it ends. Now, how many of you have heard of the Humpty Dumpty Institute? The Humpty Dumpty Institute is an institute, a multi-million-dollar international organization which, according to their website, endeavors to bring clean waters, safer roads, and education to children in the poorest regions of the world. They also do other things like landmine removal. They are against the abuse of women and children, blah, 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 all the usual. All very noble until you dig deeper and find who is actually involved. Up until 2018, the Humpty Dumpty Institute was run by Jeffrey Epstein's brother Mark as sort of CEO. However, due to the controversy of his brother's case, he stepped down as director, but as of filings in 2019, he is still a board member and one of the main contributors. And that is not all. When you delve even deeper, you will find at least 28 Democrats involved with the Humpty Dumpty Institute, among which Maxine Waters. You will also find at least one Republican. Okay, now I can see you guys rolling your eyes and saying, What does this have to do with the royals? Well, let's quickly recap. We have Humpty Dumpty, written and based on the fall of a reign or royal. We have Humpty Dumpty, synonymous with twisting words. We have the Humpty Dumpty Institute, which was run by Jeffrey Epstein's brother Mark. And we have Jeffrey Epstein, whose friendship with Prince Andrew has effectively brought down a royal, namely Prince Andrew, who, in my opinion, is the Humpty Dumpty of the Epstein saga. The man who, regardless of his guilt or innocence, is now so broken, or at least his reputation is, that no one could ever put it together again. In the bigger picture, though, it would be true to say that the horse or the vessel carrying the monarch or sovereign has been wounded. A wound can, however, heal, and if this is where the story, the links, and similarities had ended, all would have been well. But once again, it is not. Going further, we find that the Humpty Dumpty Institute also has links with China, the Taipei Institute in Beijing in particular. It also has links with the Vanguard Institute as well as the Black Rock Institute. The Taipei Institute and Vanguard Institute is not easy to define, as they both have many subsidiaries and there are also other organizations with the same names. This does not apply to the Black Rock Institute, though. BlackRock is the world's largest asset management company with a portfolio in excess of $9.5 trillion. New York-based BlackRock is the first foreign-owned company allowed by Beijing to operate business in China's mutual fund industry. We can carry on down the deep black hole of investors and liaisons with the Humpty Dumpty Institute, but I know you are here for the entertainment, and therefore we are going to give that a miss too. So let's go back to Mark Epstein, Jeffrey's younger brother. Like I said, Mark is listed on the board of directors for the Humpty Dumpty Institute, which also works with the United Nations. A tax filing for the Institute shows Mark loaned the international charity at least $100,000 in 2014. As we know, Jeffrey Epstein collected celebrities, politicians, and royalty as friends, the same way other people would collect coins or stamps. But in contrast, his brother stayed mostly under the radar, and it is unclear how he made his money. I'm not going to go into his business ventures, but suffice it to say, none of his business ventures were ever so major or successful that it could be the root cause of Mark Epstein being able to buy commercial buildings and donating hundreds of millions of dollars to the Humpty Dumpty Institute. Of course, we, like many others, can speculate, but perhaps it's not entirely legal or safe to do so at this point. And therefore, I want to go back to the symbolism and hidden meanings of the nursery rhyme for a moment. The official explanation of the words Humpty Dumpty in the Oxford Dictionary is 1. A short, fat person, and 2. A person or thing that, once overthrown, cannot be restored. And the exact example they give is regimes toppled like so many Humpty Dumptys. Coincidence? Maybe not. But again, the coincidences did not end here. As mentioned, Lewis Carroll incorporated Humpty Dumpty in his sequel, Alice Through the Looking Glass. But Charles Ludwig Dodgson, which was Lewis Carroll's real name, left behind another legacy, one referring to his personal and private life. In Morton N. Cohen's book, Lewis Carroll, A Biography, Cohen speculates that Carroll's sexual energies sought unconventional outlets, and further writes, we cannot know to what extent sexual urges lay behind Charles's preference for drawing and photographing children in the nude. He contended that the preference was entirely aesthetic, but given his emotional attachment to children, as well as his appreciation of their forms, his assertion that his interest was strictly artistic is indeed naive. Cohen also argues that Lewis Carroll may have wanted to marry the 11-year-old Alice Liddell, and that was the cause of the unexpected break with the Liddell family. Biographers Derek Hudson and Roger Green also stopped short of calling Lewis Carroll a pedophile, but they concur that he had a passion for small female children and next to no interest in the adult world. Now, the subliminal messages and possible connotations of the use of the name and words Humpty Dumpty in modern times is starting to take on a rather sinister meaning. So let's recap. Twisting words, the downfall of a king or reign or monarchy, and now pedophilia. We also feel, or I feel, that the elite are toying with us, literally thinking they are cute and the joke is on us by lumping their agenda covertly into even nursery rhymes. But if we keep cool heads and stick to our morals and faith and continue to stick to our conscience's understanding of right and wrong, we should be able to see through all this evil. But I'm sorry, I digress again, and I know many of you are now rolling your eyes again and wondering whether I have gone completely nuts. I mean, here is old Bookworm, who virtually talks about the royal family, now talking about conspiracy theories and all kinds of quasi-political issues. So what the heck does all of this have to do with the royal family, except the connection between the Epstein brothers, Prince Andrew, and the Humpty Dumpty Institute? Humpty Dumpty in the Lewis Carroll book, Lewis Carroll, who was likely a pedophile and sexual deviant, just like the old man Jeffrey. Well, guys, just stick with me for 1 minute and I'll take you on a quick detour away from the Epstein and Andrew saga. One of the Humpty Dumpty Institute's largest liaisons or affiliations is with the Tai Institute. A man by the name of Thorsten Jelinek is a senior fellow and the European director of the Tai Institute, and he is or was an associate director of the World Economic Forum, involved with at least two major presentations at the G20 summit. Yes, my friends, the same G20 summit at which Prince Charles delivered a speech highlighting the growing environmental crisis as a result of climate change. So, regardless of all the numerous excuses from those making excuses for Charles, we need to accept that he is sharing time and space with the likes of Klaus Schwab and Thorsten Jelinek, who together and individually put out that they want to lead the Great Reset, a reset which would include a shift in humanity to transhumanism. Yes, we are talking implanted microchips, etc., and the depopulation of Earth. And who else had previously spoken of depopulation? Prince Philip. So here we have the Tai Institute connected to the World Economic Forum, connected to Prince Charles as future king, and all tied together to the Humpty Dumpty Institute. Now, after I listened to Johnny Enlow, I went and did my own research and some more reading on other things fleetingly mentioned in the video, among which concepts such as circular investments and financial and power monopolies, which includes families such as the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, Carnegies, the Bush family, and the British royal family. But maybe one day in another video we can go down that rabbit hole. Not today. What I do want to quickly show you is an old illustration of Humpty Dumpty that Johnny Enlow found when doing his research. Do you see what I see? Yes, the hand in the jacket, which is a known symbol or secret language, if you will, representing Freemasonry, and something we see often with the men in the royal family. I'm going to leave all of this with you now. I'm not going to give an opinion nor attempt a prediction or some kind of prophecy, as my field is representing things I can see and read and check and cross-reference. But if you are more interested in the future, predictions, prophecies, and the spiritual aspect of everything I shared with you, I sincerely recommend that you watch Elijah Streams on Rumble or Elijah Streams on YouTube, or Google Johnny Enlow, Enlow, as you will find him on a variety of platforms, including TikTok. My sincere thanks to Katherine for the links and information and further assistance. This was again a project I loved doing, delving into different avenues and investigating all kinds of things. It captivated me for days, and again, I learned something new. All right, my friends, the next video will be much lighter, and that will be up and loaded as soon as possible. So until we meet on the next one, please take good care of yourselves. Bye.